Lyndl.
Hello.
Swindle got swindled last night.
She did. Did. Yeah, devastating. Oh my goodness. Can't believe it.
You've had a bit of time to process it now. What was it like watching that moment play out your blind side at Tribal Council?
Oh my gosh. Obviously, I knew it was coming. I was peeking through my fingers, like, no, I can't look. But do you know what? I think it was the sweetest blind side. Everyone was really nice. I was like, oh, it's so frustrating because if I'd voted for Caleb, it might have turned out differently. But there's always going to be what ifs, right? I'm kind of just taking it on the chin, and I'm so happy with how, everything went up until that point. I'm so lucky that I got to play Survivor, and I had an absolute ball. So yeah, as hard as it was to watch, I am in good spirits today.
There were a lot of complicated plans in play last night, lots of names coming out of the urn.
Yeah.
Did last night watching the episode give you a bit of clarity in terms of how it went down? Because you seem quite shocked in the moment.
Yeah, I think it did give me clarity because Tribe Swap, I genuinely felt like I was in a good place. I had made good connections. Like Mark was already set up by Loz when she had her sleepover at Baron, and I was excited to work with Mark and Brooke come merge. Um, Sally and I bonded because we're from the same town and she knows my family. She knew who I was, and I know her partner. Faith and I really bonded quite well. And Caleb was awesome. We had some good chats. I genuinely felt like I was in a good place. My tribe was aware that my name had kept coming up, and they trusted me, right? But watching back, it makes a lot more sense now because the funny business with Rich kind of rubbed Keely the wrong way, and they lost our trust pretty quick at that challenge. So it's very frustrating. I'm like, no, we were doing so well.
I mean, it did feel like you were in a good spot and you were fitting in really socially in this new tribe. But I guess that moment at the challenge, do you feel like that's where it all unraveled for you when Rich started playing some games out there?
I do. It's hard to really know, but I did genuinely feel like it was, not only good for my game and my resume to survive such a brutal tribe swap. I was excited about that. Delulu Lyndl. Like I was like, come on, Rich, like if we get through this is gonna look amazing for us down the end. And he was terrified. He thought we were absolutely done for, and I think he ultimately manifested that for us, unfortunately.
Obviously, going into a tribe swap, you were down on numbers. It was just you and Rich. When your other tribe mates, they all started turning on each other, that must have been a great feeling to know that, you weren't just going to be first on the chopping block.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you know what? I think the original Baron tribe had not been to many tribals. They were hungry to get people out. And I think, yeah, maybe they'd just spent a bit too much time with Don, and they took that opportunity. And I do think that they also genuinely wanted to work with Rich and I. And yeah, unfortunately, it just didn't keep going down that way.
Tell me about your experience with casting. Was this the first time you applied to be on Survivor?
No, oh my goodness. I watched for the first time in 2017, and I applied straight away after that in 2018. And I like for the first time watching Survivor, I just thought this is for me. I'm such an outdoorsy girl. I grew up going camping all the time. Going hiking is my happy place. If I'm ever going through something, I organize a hike or an overnight hike, and that just brings me back. I love building a fire. I was always by the fire out there. And yeah, so I applied in 2018. I just had a look back at that casting tape, and I'm dying looking at it. It's hilarious. Little Lyndall wasn't quite ready back then, and since since then I've always just known, it sounds weird, but I've just known that I was going to play Survivor one day. it just had to be the right time for me. My life went through a lot of changes, a lot of traveling, this and that. But then, yeah, it was coming up to this season, and I thought it's happening right now. Yeah. So I applied and submit my video, and I think it was 2 days later they called me. I'm like, yes, it's happening. A lot to go through after that. You get all your medical checks and your
Yeah,
fitness.
it's a lot.
It's a lot, but I just knew it was happening.
I'd love to go back just to some of those early tribe dynamics,
Yep.
because we saw it was, I guess it felt like a little bit of a tough start for you in terms of finding your feet in the game and finding your people. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, there's so many things in hindsight, right? I went in there wanting to play very really non-threatening game. Okay, I wanted to be loyal. I knew I was going to be good at challenges, especially individual challenges, which unfortunately didn't get to, merge. But
You did win one though.
I did. That's the first individual immunity, right? Thank God I got to do that. Like that was, it's making this early exit a little bit easier. So I went in there telling people that, my redemption was, I haven't done anything with my life. I've done a little bit of modeling. I work in events, and basically just calling myself a bit of a loser. And it worked a little bit too well because I think they all thought I was a bit of a loser. And Loz and I bonded so, so fast, and it was such a natural relationship. You're it's really lucky to have a connection like that. I mean, even in the real world, but in the game at all, let alone that early on. And people didn't understand it. We were having so many giggle fits in the hammock, and we were just all of my strat chats were going through her. I was talking to a few people, but you don't see a lot of that in the edit as well. Um, so there was that part. And then there's also the fact that I found the clue on day one, I shove it in my top. And after we win the challenge, everyone's hugging each other. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to feel it. What do I do? And so the paranoia kicked in there. And then constantly thinking about how and when am I going to get this idol? And then how am I going to swap it? Does she have it? It was a lot going on in my head. So I think that contributed a lot to me sort of being a little bit on the outs at the start of the game.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, we saw that midnight chat with Eliza,
Yeah.
which obviously led to you driving the vote against Eliza. The catalyst in that being that she mentioned that you were on the bottom and you felt like she was making you paranoid. I guess seeing the tribe dynamics with all the information that you have watching the edit, what was that feeling like? Can you just talk me through that?
Yeah, so she didn't wake me up. I'd gotten up for a moment. I didn't go back to sleep after that, and I hadn't slept pretty much at all up until that point. So, one, I'm not thinking clearly, and I didn't not believe her, but there's two ways I could have looked at it. I could have tried to make a move with her, which I didn't really think that I could work with her because we're very different people, and I didn't understand where she wanted to go with it. Then also her telling me I'm on the bottom and she's on the bottom. I'm like, I got to get the votes onto her. Whatever, however I'm going to do it. I want to save Loz. I want to save myself. And I also kind of wanted to see if I could. If I was that far on the bottom, could I have run around to the whole tribe and got them to vote for who I wanted them to vote for?
So, was there anything that watching it that you were surprised to see or that you learnt about the dynamics that you weren't aware of in the moment?
I didn't know how close Harry and Simon were. I was talking to both of them in there, and I'd be like, what do you think about Simon? Or what do you think about Harry? And they're like, oh yeah, no, they're cool. Like, let's keep them in. I'm like, okay. But I didn't realize how close they were. They're really good friends. So that surprised me a little bit. Um, no, I feel like I knew where everyone was. Simon, though. very, very clever boy. He such a lovely human. He was he was really good at chatting to me both about life and about the game. And he was really doing the work. He was like that with everyone. It was really quite impressive. And he was playing like keeping quite low and being very helpful around the camp. You know, we needed to learn the way of the land, right? And he was really useful in that way. But I don't think that there's been that many surprises for me coming out of it.
And I know we've touched on the idol find already. Super great moment. And I love, that exchange with Brooke. So messy.
I came out of it feeling absolutely amazing, as you see. Brooke did not. So I'd gone in there absolutely freaking out about it. And that's why I chose Brooke as well, because she would know how to get it done and not crumble under pressure like me. But I had wrapped the idol in my sock and I tucked it down the back of my shorts, ready to go. And it was so hard because there's this huge platform between the two tribes. And for me to go scurrying around the back of that platform, I was like, that is putting myself up to too much of, becoming a target. I was willing to not do it at that challenge and wait for the next one if I had to, rather than getting caught. So I was pacing up and down that mat going, oh my gosh, can I do it? Can I? And then it gets to the end of the challenge. We win. And I'm like, yay, coffee, cool. I didn't even care about it at that point. Um, I'd given up at that point, but Loz was in on it, obviously. She knew
Yeah.
what was going on, and she comes up with this brilliant idea. I thought was brilliant. Why don't we all go over to the other tribe? And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you sure? Like, I'd given up, and then Brooke had given up as well. Brooke had put it back in her bag, and I'm like, right, we're doing it. We all go over. As soon as Brooke realized what was happening, she like says hello and then goes into her bag. I grab mine out of my pants and I just chuck it straight clean into her bag. I felt great about that. And then I stood there and I was like, I am not moving until she gives me mine. But she had to quickly fumble around and give me the idol, and I shoved it back in my pants. So yeah, it was pretty messy, pretty chaotic, but I mean I love
Yeah, it was excruciating, but in the most amazing way possible.
it. It was really funny, actually. I think it might have been that night or the next night. I was by the fire with Harry, and he's going, oh, you know what? Someone could have an idol, you know? And I'm like, what? How? He's like, oh, there could have even been a swap. He said, on one of my seasons, I was meant to do a swap and I couldn't do it. And I'm just thinking, that's when Swindle's poker face comes in. I'm like, oh, no way, really?
Was there anything more to the decision to give Brooke the clue to the idol?
It was always going to be Brooke. Um, it had to be someone who'd played the game before. I didn't know anyone on that tribe, right? But yeah, familiar face. I felt like Brooke and I could work together moving forward, come merge or swap. Unfortunately, that never got to happen. But yeah, I definitely chose the right person because when I went up to her to try and tell her about the clue, she just knew straight away. I made eye contact with her and smiled, and she comes over and she's like, "Are you right?" And I said, "I've got a clue." Blah 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 blah. She goes, "Okay," and then walks away. Like it was great. You have such an advantage going there for a second time or third time.
I'd love to get to some quick fire questions.
Oh gosh, I'm hopeless at these. Okay, I overthink them.
Who was your favorite person in the game?
Loz.
Who had the most annoying habit and what was it?
Maybe Rich just being scared all the time.
What was your proudest moment of your game?
There's too many. Probably immunity, I think. Or the idol swap, I don't know. Or the torch. Like I had some really iconic moments.
What was your most embarrassing moment in the game?
No, it was lobbing the sandbag. I slipped and yeeted the sandbag at David's head. Oh my gosh, that was bad.
Would you ever play Survivor again?
Of course I would. Of course I would. It would be, I couldn't say no if they came knocking 100%.
If you could be on any reality show, what would you be
I
on?
think The Amazing Race. I'm so competitive. And then if it wasn't The Amazing Race, I think Big Brother. I could just be goofy and have some fun with it.
A bit more comfy in a house, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know, having a pillow and a blanket. I definitely get more sleep that way. So,
What celebrity would you want to see play Australian Survivor?
you know who I love? I love Ed Sheeran. I wonder what he'd be like out there.
Any good?
I think he would be socially for sure. He wouldn't be good at the challenge. Oh no, I don't want to be mean.
Describe your Survivor legacy in 3 words.
Chaotic, delusional, and iconic.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Lyndl. I think, like you said, you've had so many iconic moments, so many bucket list items ticked off.
Thank
There's
you,
lots to be
Hayley.
proud of. So, yeah, I think, thank you for everything you brought to the game this season.
Thank you so much, Hayley. I'm so grateful.
See you.
Bye.
This is Beyond Reality.